The Labour Party in Britain, the opposition party, threatens disciplinary action against member who calls transgender woman a man. I'll read that again while you're catching your bloody breath. Labour Party threatens disciplinary action against member who calls transgender woman a man. Now, you see, this is where we are in politics now. You have the right-wing party in the UK, the Conservative Party, currently in government, Prime Minister Theresa May, as you have a right-wing government, as people perceive it, in Trump in the United States. And so people say we must change the government. Now, there are things that these right-wing governments do that I absolutely do not support. A lot of things they do. But then you say, what do you get if you replace them with the alternative? And it's clear as day now that when the Democratic Party in America get power, they've of course won control of the House of Representatives now. But if they get power to really dominate all decision-making and political decision-making and law-making in America, we are going to see political correctness go through the fricking roof. And if the Labour Party get in, while I have support for some of the things that the leader, Jeremy Corbyn, says he wants to do, and many things he does want to do that I don't support. But here we are in a similar situation where if the Labour Party comes in, they will also push political correctness through the bloody roof. So heads you lose and tails you lose, more than ever before in the so-called political system. So this is the story. The Labour Party has threatened a member with disciplinary action for referring to a transgender woman as a man. Of course, because that's what they look like, and they've got dangly bits, so you don't mind, or you would understand being assumed that they're actually a man. Anyway, Janie Hutton made the comment on a closed Facebook group, writing, "It's painful to see biological women say trans women, brackets men, are sisters. The desperation to appear PC woke is vomit-inducing. These are men." Right? Of course, this PC woke. I woke. No, you don't. No, you didn't. You're fast a bloody sleep. What it says here, I woke. Well, it's having you on. Now, people might not agree with that opinion, but it's an opinion, and it's a valid opinion. To have a valid opinion of the transgender situation, that is different from the norm. But that's the thing, it's different from the norm. So, and of course, the parties of the so-called left, not that they really are, most of them, certainly not the progressive left, they want to virtue signal in all directions, because that's the foundation of everything they do. Look at me, I'm such a nice person. Look, I'm so caring. And they're creating mayhem, of course, and they're being played like a stringed instrument by that which they think they are challenging. Anyway, it's amazing, isn't it, how the progressive left is now cheering on corporations like Amazon and Google and Facebook and stuff. Incredible. Anyway, this lady, Janie Hutton, who had this opinion on Facebook, she then received a letter from Sophie Goodyear, head of complaints of Labour's National Executive Committee. This is the committee that allowed ultra-Zionist hate groups to pound them into accepting a definition of anti-Semitism that is so ludicrously wide, it's pathetic, and includes criticism of Israel. What other government in the world can you not criticise because it's considered racist? I mean, it's incredible. But the Labour Party lost its backbone a long time ago. So this Sophie Goodyear, this head of complaints at the National Executive Committee, she described the remarks from Janie Hutton as offensive. Oh, really? That was original. I'm offended. Well, choose not to be. Saying abuse of any kind, whether direct attacks or pejorative language, which may cause offence, is not acceptable and will not be tolerated in our party. I'm offended by that. I'm offended by the fact that I'm told that someone being offended by something is not acceptable in terms of the person who they claim offended them. Once being offended is trumping free speech. Free speech is dead. And Sophie Goodyear, how many brain cells she has on active duty, I don't know. But what tends to happen is virtue signalling shuts down free thought. The letter, dated October 18th, added, I am therefore writing to remind you that describing those who identify as transgender women as men is not what we would expect from a member of the Labour Party. Already, so it believes in free speech then. And ask you to refrain from making comments of this nature in the future. Please be aware that any repeat of this conduct may lead to formal disciplinary action. Up yours, Sophie. Who wants to be part of a party run by idiots like that anyway? Ms. Hutton has responded by making a complaint to Labour that her human rights have been breached. Well, good on you. In a letter to Ms. Goodyear, she wrote, I won't do the obvious Miss Goodyear, where she fears to tread, because I wouldn't be that childish. In a letter to Ms. Goodyear, she wrote, I am not under the delusion that humans can change sex. This is my belief, and therefore I have this right not to have my belief invalidated by your dogma. This is also ECHR Article 9 as my freedom not to believe in your ideology. She's not yet received a response. I bet she hasn't. It's what these people don't realise, you see, that they are acting in the same discriminatory way as they say the party will not accept, because they're so far in a dark place where the sun don't shine and full of their own self-purity. Another transgender insanity this week. Democrats this time. You'll be very surprised that it's the Democrats. Democrats are saying cruel and unscientific to define legal sex by biology. Because we live in a post-fact society, and we have to, because if facts are still valid, then this nonsense is destroyed by factual debate. So what they do is they shut down the debate and ignore factual evidence. That way they can impose their lunacy on people without having to justify it. It is cruel and unscientific to define a person's legal sex by their biology, says pro-transgender complaint signed by 98 Democratic House legislators. Oh, look at me. My heart's on my sleeve. I'm such a nice person. We care, we do. Vote for me. The Democrat statement was sent to President Trump's administration after the New York Times reported that the administration will formally clarify that the sex of people involved in sex discrimination legal fights will be based on their male or female body. Trump's biology-determined sex policy makes it clear that members of this administration are willing to solidify an archaic, dogmatic, and alarming view of the world. The Democrats complain in their letter to the Department of Health and Human Services, an alarming view of the world that men and women are biologically different. Oh, God. Get them a mirror, will you? Get them a mirror. One each. And the penny might drop. Anyway, that's not to say, some people do feel they're in the wrong body and they should be helped, they should be supported, they shouldn't be discriminated against, but that's not what this is all about. Okay, it's about control, and it's something very much deeper that I go into in the evening talks and in more detail in the books. Yet there is no scientific. Let's go one paragraph back. The Democrats and transgender advocates want government agencies to let people define their legal sex by declaring their internal feeling of male or female gender identity, regardless of their male or female body and biology. Yet there is no scientific or legal measure of gender identity. For example, one gay advocacy group defines gender identity as one's innermost concept of self as male, female, or a blend of both or neither. Where's the neither come from? I don't know. So any person could claim to have opposite sex gender identity and become a member of the other sex at any time for as long or short time as they wish. Exactly. It's all about confusion, chaos. And of course, one of the things that's being increasingly destroyed is women's sport, where men come along, take part in women's sports with male bodies. And of course, in sports where the strength of the body is predominant, they win. So what's the point of women taking part if they know they're never going to win because their whole thing is rigged? But you see, women are now falling down the hierarchy of victimhood and politically correct importance because the agenda's moved on. They want to play men off against women, and they're doing that. But that's now been superseded by this transgender agenda, and it will be superseded. That will be superseded by something else, which I'm getting the feeling of what that will be. And therefore, women's rights are now subservient to transgender rights. And a lot of women, and even feminist groups, are now seeing this. This is why you've got this conflict between feminist groups and transgender. It's just madness.